Dark family secret my mom told me sometime before she died. People who've actually slept with their step-sibling or sibling, how did it happen and how was your relationship affected? My older brother dated our older stepsister. He was 15 to 16, she was 30 to 32. My mom was livid about it, her dad pretended it wasn't happening. She was a bit of a sugar mama, bought him lots of nice stuff, flew him places. She took him to parties and did drugs with etc. slept with him. My mom thinks she dated my brother just to spite her. I don't know how valid that is, it wouldn't surprise me. But my mom was also a piece of work, and to get back at her and her husband for allowing it, she slept with her stepson. Don't worry, I'm still in therapy. This one prob's gonna get buried underneath joke replies, but I accidentally boned my half-sister while we were in high school. Basically, we had never known each other beforehand and we met in high school. She confessed that she had feelings for me and we started dating. About 1 year and we started having sex. Fast forward 2 years and we graduate. Then she introduces me to her parents and there I meet my father, whom I had only known from photos. Since he and my mom got divorced when I was born. That's when I found out my then girlfriend was my half-sister. We agreed it was a good idea to stop eating when we found out, and we're still friends to this day and roommates since rent is expensive in uni dorms. And no, we don't have sex anymore, only a few times cause we got really drunk. I had a friend in high school that dated this girl for like 6 months before their parents decided to randomly get married. The parents, only dated for like a month. A few months later he is trying to set me up with his sister and bragging that she gives good head. It was very weird. My parents are actually step-siblings. They began dating when they were teenagers, and when their parents met they fell in love and got married, making my mom and dad step-siblings. They ended up moving in together since they were both still living with their parents, and my grandparents just let them share a room. It's always been a joke in our family that my mom is my aunt, my dad is my uncle, and my brothers are my cousins. Not me, but my close family. My grandmother had 3 husbands. 4 children with all different dads. My mother's dad was sexually abusive and had been sleeping with my aunt, mom's older sister. They continued that relationship for years. My grandmother divorced him and he married my aunt. So my aunt was also a step-grandma and my mother's dad was also an uncle. When he finally died, I remember my mother saying, "I don't want to go to his funeral, but I really think I should be there to support my stepmom." That woman has always had a warped sense of humor, I love it. I was seeing a girl right after graduating from high school. My dad knew her mom somehow, but she was married at the time. Didn't work out with this girl, but her mom and my dad are basically married at this point. Dad dated a woman. He dated a lot of women, so it became normal. She had a daughter. We got drunk at a party. Hooked up. Real boy meets world shit. Then they got married. And that's when we cut it out. Then they got divorced. And I'm still not boning her anymore. Mom dated a guy. Guy had a son the same age as me. We hated our parents and slept together. Had a fun time. Broke up due to him using drugs and me not dealing with it. Both are married to other people, and happy. We don't talk even though we see each other at family gatherings after our parents got married. Slept with my former sister-in-law. Is that close enough? How'd it happen? She hated my ex-wife/her sister. My ex-wife cheated on me. We were drinking together about 6 months after it ended and she said, "You should fuck me to get even." The relationship didn't at all change. We just know each other a little better than we used to. Both dating others now and it's like it never happened. I'm late to this, but here's my story that I had posted on the Taboo guy's post. Dude banged his cousin. This was in reply to a comment, "Well, at least she wins shittiest breakup story." My wife fucked her brother in my bed when I went upstairs to sleep. We had company over and they were a bit loud, and my bed is on the first floor where they all were, so I decided to go upstairs cause it would be quieter. I woke up about 2 to 3 hours later and went downstairs to grab water and rejoin my wife, but she already had company. I'm pretty sure I win shittest breakup story. My Phil dated his stepdaughter first, then when they broke up he met and eventually married her mom. Needless to say, it is one of my wife's family's more awkward stories. I've already started pre-gaming, so if people could start sharing stories before I run out of lube, that would be nice. My dad's brother married my mom's sister. My parents somehow didn't really meet until several months after the wedding. My cousins and I are as close to incest as it gets without actually crossing blood relatives. Just for fun, my siblings have a different dad than me, so I actually look more related to those cousins than I do my own siblings. I just try to not explain that to people, but it definitely is weird when it gets out. Our parents met at our wedding. Mom was a widow, my father-in-law divorced, so we weren't step-siblings when we got married, but it still freaks people out. Confused the hell out of our kids, especially when I'd beg them to call me auntie when we went into stores. They were the devil's own in stores. I slept with my stepsister. She came in town to visit her dad, and when I went outside to help bring luggage, and she gave me the fuck me eyes as soon as she saw me, and instantly I knew I was in trouble. For a week and a half, I kept being polite and trying to remain distant because I had been warned by my stepdad and her brothers to not even look in her direction, not bring any friends over, not do anything wrong, and I had absolutely no intention of doing so. But it was the first time I had ever had anyone want me that badly, and I gave in, and we secretly got together for the remainder of the months she spent in town. We were both young and dumb and fell in love, and though we hid it well, when they found out after she left, I got my ass beat. For a few years, they wouldn't let her visit, and we kept in touch. Then after college, I moved to where she lived, and we have been together ever since. 11 years now, and we have a 5-year-old daughter and 3-year-old son. Everyone is completely fine with it now, and we make jokes about it all the time. It was weird, she just kept bending over a lot and saying stepbrother and asking me to help her with the really easy stuff. Then I swear I blinked and she was bouncing on my cock yelling, "This is wrong, but I love it." My girlfriends, from 13 to 21, uncle hooked up and married my mother, in 2 months from a meeting, when we were 17. We were both pissed off. Yes, we did break up for about 7 months because every time we went anywhere people were giving us shit for being kissing cousins. We got back together and married at 19, but moved and went NC with them until our daughter was born. They had divorced by then anyway. I lost my virginity to my third cousin by blood. I had no idea we were related until 6 months into the relationship. Open to questions though, but that's about the closest I can get to what Op asked. I hate that bitch now though. My sister and I are both sex workers. There have been numerous occasions when we've tag-teamed a client. We never tell them, and I'm not really sure why, because they'd probably pay more for that. Anyway, it's always the most hilarious thing ever, and we both have to try really hard to not laugh. To be clear, she and I don't have any contact during these sessions. Sorry if that disappoints anyone. Usually one of us puts our tits in a dude's face while the other takes care of him downstairs. Simple. My mom had a best friend. She died, adopted her son who is older than me. I was 8. He was 18. And I idolized him. He took me shopping, out to eat, and just hung me like a brother. I lived my father, my mom dies, we both grow up. Run into him when I was 19, and that was a fun weekend. Now I'm much older, we still talk, but we never talk about it. I dated I believe it was a third cousin once removed or something like that, for about 6 months. We had already been exclusively dating for like a month when I mentioned my great-great-grandfather, who was a tiny bit famous in my state, and he knew exactly who I was talking about, which is not normal. Turns out it's because that guy was also his great-great-grandfather. I freaked out and asked my mom about her family history. He asked his mom. Great-great-grandfather was a polygamist. I came from one wife and he came from another. It was weird, but not weird enough to stop. I remember going to his grandmother's house for Thanksgiving, located in the area that the aforementioned grandfather was famous for, and marveled at how similar it was to my own grandma's house. Thanks, Mormons. Obligatory not me, or even quite step-sibling, but still a fun story. One of my dad's best friends, let's call him Rob, was partially crazy, admitted to a mental hospital briefly for running around town in tidy whities and trying to get into his ex-wife's house. I grew up around this guy, so it was great. He's dead now though, so the fun times are over. Anyways, Rob and his ex did have a daughter. Well, his brother and his bro's wife split at some point, and they have a son, Rob's nephew. One thing obviously leads to another, and Rob and his ex-sister-in-law get together, And you guessed it, get married. So now Rob's nephew is now also his stepson, and his daughter is also now stepdaughter to her aunt. My story is a bit different. My step-cousin showed me her boobs one time. I and her were chilling in my pool, the family wasn't there. She just asked if I wanted to see her boobs. I said sure. I think I was 14 and she was 13. I and her have always been close and we can always talk to each other, which is awesome because we both have depression and anxiety, so we can have similar situations sometimes. Oh God, this is just bad. Okay, so, it wasn't my sibling, but a step-cousin on my stepfather's side of the family. There is a group of kids and a group of us all around the same age. Whenever he has get-togethers, we teens always hung out until recently when we joined the adults. But I was 15, during my sexual peak I guess you could say, and we all decided to play truth or dare. Now, for context, I joined their lives after they were already 12 or so, and I was the only white guy. I was more their best friend of sorts than a relative, and I had been previously caught checking out one of the girls on the last visit. In my defense, she had worn a tight dress at that time which showed off her assets. So the two other guys naturally made me kiss her. For their own reasons I suppose. I and her kinda had the same expression of okay then, game on. So we did it. We were the two ballsy ones of the group and usually didn't back down from a challenge. Everyone did their hoots and when it was her turn, they told her to make out with me for 5 minutes. Again, same mutual non-spoken agreement, and that happened. This escalated until it got to them handing us a condom and saying go into the other room and smash. There was a mild hesitation, but we both, again, just non-verbally said fuck it. And so that happened. Solid 8/10. We agreed never again and never speak of it. Well, my single mother moved in with a guy when my brother and I were 16-17. Mom never married him, but I guess he was a common-law stepfather. My brother ended up married to his daughter and had 2 kids. Not a big deal as they weren't related, but still kinda odd at the time. My cousin-in-law, adopted, African. We used to play mommy and daddy, and our games got serious real quick. We used to kiss, a lot. We were 8 or 9 at the time, and were just mimicking what we saw on TV. The whole family knew, but never really cared. They did make jokes about it during Christmas, when we were older. Our current relationship is awkward but pleasant. We get along well, but you can't undo some memories of having your entire family laugh to you. I didn't talk to her between the ages of 10 and 17, she's a year younger, because I watched Harold and Kumar go to White Castle and realized how weird it was to have a relationship inside a family. My aunt's second husband fucked her 16-year-old daughter from first husband. Honestly not sure about details, it was a dark family secret my mom told me sometime before she died. This was like 32 years ago, they are still married and apparently finally talked about it 15 years after the fact. Family is fucked up. Lost my virginity to my foster brother. We were both foster kids and his room was next to mine. We shared a bathroom. The foster parents found out and shipped him away where he joined the Jobs Corps. The foster mom tried to get him in trouble by telling my caseworker. Some detectives showed up to my school to ask if this was true and I lied and said it wasn't. He was technically 18 and they were trying to pin statutory rape on him. I wasn't dumb. I wasn't going to let them ruin his entire life, so I just denied everything. Ran into him years after I aged out of foster care. I was I think 22, back in 2012. We hung out for the day. By then I had 2 of my own children. I told him it was good I never had his babies. Made the meeting kind of awkward. I'm kind of an awkward person, so I knew a guy. He and his stepsister didn't grow up together. They didn't see one another often at family events. As he described it, their encounters got progressively more flirty. They mutually decided to go for it. She was eager for him and he was too. He struggled over it. Our group of friends gave him a lot of shit as we itemized the cons. He vacillated between repulsion and desire and wasn't sure what he would ultimately do. Within a few days, he texted us a picture of stepsister written in lipstick on a female's bare chest. He freaked out after and felt really ashamed. Within a week they were at the same family party and she jumped on him in the bathroom. He had a pretty serious panic attack and went on some meds. Xanax. It wasn't all that serious, he settled down after they talked and decided never to do it or talk about it again. And he shared his Xanax. That was fun. My ex did this with her brother. They insisted they didn't, but unfortunately my friend discovered texts between the brother, her BF at the time, and the sister, my girlfriend at the time, and showed me. I didn't call them out for it, just dumped the girl. My friend unfortunately gossiped to everyone at work about it. They disappeared shortly after, quitting their job at the call center we all worked at, and I haven't heard from them since. I have seen the brother occasionally on social media but otherwise have no idea what became of them. Thank you for listening to Reddit Space. Hit the subscribe button and activate the notifications if you'd love to see more amazing Reddit videos. Let us know in the comments what Reddit video you want to listen next.